The Last of Us Part 1 for the second time. This time I beat it on Grounded, and the gaming experience with it was just as great with the writing, the graphics, the storylines. All of that was still amazing. Obviously, the game was more difficult. Supplies were severely limited, and it got real frustrating at certain parts. But it taught me how to be patient. It taught me how to, be more methodical in the game. But there's a bigger part here I want to talk about. Do we think that Joel was right? Do we think that Joel saving Ellie at the end of the game was the right thing to do? And the reason why I ask this, because on one side of it, Ellie is immune to the virus. She's immune to it, right? And so the Fireflies wanted to utilize her and see if they can come up with a cure by reverse engineering the fungus that grows in their brain. But in order to do so, they would have to kill her. And Joel lost a daughter in the very beginning of the game. We all know this, right? He lost her right in his arms, right? And he then builds a bond with Ellie because he goes on this long trip where he saves her several times. She saves him several times. They both lost people, and they grow this bond. So she becomes a daughter-like figure to him, and he becomes a father-like figure to her. I think we all can understand that, even if we're not parents yet. I'm not a parent yet, unless you include the pets, but that's different. And so we all understand that point of it, right? And so when he gets there and he realizes that they're going to kill her, he's like, F this, I got to get my girl out of here. So he gets her. If you beat the game, you know that. He goes and gets her. And then he lies to her and tells her that, hey, they found a bunch of people like her who are immune, they're not looking for a cure, etc. I personally would have told her what happened. I would have said, listen, I love you like a daughter. They were going to kill you in hopes of finding a cure. It wasn't guaranteed to find the cure, but you were guaranteed to be killed if I left you there. I would have told her what it was, because then that builds up resentment, that builds up animosity. And if you play Last of Us Part 2, you see that resentment and some of that animosity. I admit I have not beaten Last of Us Part 2. Right where the Asian guy gets killed off, I cut the game off. I didn't want to play as Abby. I don't like Abby. But I'm probably going to beat Last of Us Part 2 fairly soon. But anyway, back to the original point. How do you guys feel about that? Do you guys feel that Joel was right? Was he wrong? Was he being more... Because there's so many ways to understand this. It's not... For me, looking back at it, it's not a situation where there's a very easy answer to this, right? Now, maybe when I play Abby's storyline, when I go back and replay Last of Us 2 and beat the whole thing entirely, I might understand it differently because I know her father was one of the surgeons in there. And I made sure I hit him with a shotgun too. But maybe as I think about it more and more, right? I don't know where you put Joel at on this, right? Because Joel, in some people's eyes, is a hero. I think of Joel more like an anti-hero, more like a Punisher, a Wolverine type of thing. I don't think he's a full-fledged hero because he's done a lot of crazy things, and in that kind of environment with those type of circumstances, I think we all think it makes sense. But so I just want to pose that question to y'all. But as far as the second playthrough of the game, it was amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was one of my favorite things to do. Last of Us Part 1 is in my top 3 video games of all time. I think the actors are great. The voice acting is great. I think the writing is great. It's so consistent. It's one of those things where you could tell this game was thought out, then rethought out, then rethought out. As an artist myself, as a writer myself, you see that and you smile, because I can tell when a rapper just put something down just in here. I can tell when a writer was writing something and then the writing got weaker. I can tell. I can feel it. You can feel it. There's this thing. I don't know what it is. It's hard for me to describe, but you can feel it. Sometimes you can even point it out and say, that's where it fell off at. But this was so consistent, right? Mind you, Last of Us Part 1 was my first ever PlayStation 4 game. First game I ever played on PlayStation 4. It was that one and Uncharted 4. So I came into two very great games that kind of spoiled me in the PlayStation 4 realm, because I had those two games. And Last of Us does a great job of just my good friend Rich. He made a point. Well, Rich is a brother. My brother Rich made a point that they did a great job of not making characters, but making humans, right? Because even if you disagree with them, you understand them. Even the dudes that, like the hunters or whatever, as much as I disagree with them and think that they're stupid, right? And I know, and I kind of can see people out here that if we have something like that happening, they would be the hunters, you understand them. You get it. Now, you understand them, but you don't agree with it because some of their practices are just stupid as hell. But you get it. And it's like there's so many characters. Even the two black dudes they met, Sam, I think it's Sam. And his brother gets bit, and he shoots his brother to save Ellie, and then he's like, he shoots himself after that because he was so conflicted. Like, my mission was to protect my brother, get him here. He's gone. I had to kill him. I can't live with myself. We can all understand that. Like, it's like, damn. Like, imagine you have to make a decision like that, and you know you made the right decision, but then you're like, but it feels like the wrong decision. We've all been there at some point, and if you haven't been there, you will be there at some point. So Last of Us did such a great job of just making us fall in love with characters, one, but also understanding characters, the complexity in characters, the understanding them and their nuances and what makes them tick and what makes them go this way and that way. And it's one of those things where it's like, I could play this again. I could play it again for a third time and beat it, right? It was just one of the best gaming experiences I ever had. And I also, sidebar, because God of War is one of my favorite games of all time as well. God of War 2018, as I was playing through Last of Us again, I said, oh man, God of War 2018 was directly influenced by this game. Clear cut. Like, it was directly influenced by the game. It had to be. Even if they don't admit it, they had to be, because they're similar enough to know that one learned from the other. They don't copy each other, but they're similar enough to know. And to me, that is, again, it's just a sign of a great formula. And if you have the right pieces in place, it's a formula that works. I love the game, man. I still love the only knock I got against Last of Us. It's one knock. The AI in that game on your team are fucking stupid. That's the only knock I got against the game. The AI in that game that are on your team are like really, really stupid, bro. Like, that makes no sense to me. Some of, like, and especially when you're playing on grounded, you need all the support you can get. You barely got any weapons, items, and like, you're struggling. Like, you got to really be smart on how you play this game. And you got damn teammates that's shooting and missing. Like, they just missing shots. Dudes right in front of them, they missing shots. That's the only complaint I got about the game. That's the literal only complaint. Everything else, music, soundtrack, sound effects, feel, understanding, emotion. It felt like a movie. Last of Us Part 1 and Uncharted 4, because those are my two first PS4 games I ever played, they both do such a great job of pulling the heartstrings. And you understand it. You're like, man, this game, they took their time. And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't care how long a game takes. If you take your time, I'm good for it. Take your time. I'd rather you take your time. I'd rather you go be well thought out. I'd rather you push a game release date back 3 times before you, because as a gamer, I've grown up on video games. They've kept me out of a lot of trouble, opened up my creativity, gave me a world to escape to that wasn't my own. Growing up in North Philly and seeing some of the things I've seen, you don't forget those games, right? You don't forget them. That's just my opinion. So what do y'all think? Was Joel right? Was he wrong? Was he somewhere in the middle? Do y'all understand them? Those are my questions, man. But appreciate y'all for tuning in. Last of Us Part 1. If you haven't played it, man, and you love video games, that should be a game you go play. You gotta go play it, man. I don't play it on grounded. That was just the ego thing for me. But like, play it on like regular or normal or something like that and go enjoy yourself, man. Shout out to Last of Us Part 1. Shout out to Naughty Dog. Shout out to the voice actors. Amazing game, amazing experience. I appreciate all y'all. I'm out.